Have you ever looked into somebody's eyes and felt like time itself has stopped? Like you felt like the whole universe was staring right back at you? Well, this has happened to me, and today I want to talk about it. And I want to talk about one of the most profound things that has happened to me on my spiritual journey. And that was the first time I locked eyes with my twin flame. And if this has happened to you, stick around. I really want to talk about this, right? Because in New Age thinking, twin flames has caught fire. It has exploded. I've never seen anything like it. And there are many people like myself who were flung into a journey and flung into this realm of all of a sudden awakening onto my spiritual path and having to go through all of these different obstacles, trials, tribulations, what have you, after just looking into somebody's eyes. And it's kind of wild, isn't it? I know if maybe you can identify with that. Like, did your whole world change when you locked eyes with your twin flame? For me, when we locked eyes, I literally felt like space itself, like exploding, like that meme or that kind of space is exploding. It felt like the Big Bang Theory, felt like the birth of the universe. It is truly hard to describe to somebody who has not gone through it, right? Because for the first time in my life, I felt like somebody could see me for who I truly was at a deep soul level. And there was many emotions that kind of came up. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if I should run. I didn't know what to do. Funny enough, this was at a work event, so I was kind of just stuck with this person. And it felt like time itself kind of has stopped. I don't know if you experienced it, where you kind of lock eyes and it's so intense and it feels like all of a sudden you're like transported into another realm, into another dimension, and time itself has kind of stopped. It reminded me of that scene. I don't know if you've seen the movie Big Fish, where he's telling the story about going to the circus and sitting there, he sees who his future wife's going to be. And he said that it felt like time stopped. And then it went really fast afterwards to catch back up, right? That was the story. And that always kind of stuck with me because that's exactly what happened. And it's really difficult to put into words what it is that we experience when we lock eyes with them, especially that first time. And I saw a lot of myself in them. I was being mirrored back many different aspects of myself. And I did not like that they could see me for who I truly was. Because at that time, I was high masking individual. I did not want people to see me at a true, authentic level. I did not want them to know about them. I was very practical. I lived my life in very divine, like masculine energy. I was from point A to point B. Let's get it done. And just very logical in the way that I was thinking. And to be honest, I was like on and off my spiritual path, right? And at that time, I really wasn't on a spiritual path. I was starting, before we met, I was actually starting to love myself a little bit more at that time. And um, they just came in and, pardon my French here, but fucked everything up for me, right? And you're like, how could eye contact with one person be so strong, be so intense, right? And then all of a sudden I felt like all my chakras like open. and it felt like a whirlwind. And I was so out of it, and I was so otherworldly, right? Like my head was up in the clouds because I was like, what just happened to me? Like, I don't understand what just happened to me. And I'll make another video about this, but for the next, I would say 12 weeks, I lived in another realm, another dimension with this person. It was the most intense relationship I have ever had with somebody in my life, and it was very short lived. And I never really forgot this person. And it propelled me onto a spiritual path that was so insane, and so intense. And I'll talk about that later as well. And so, you've probably felt this too. Like, you're like, wow, they can see me. They really see me at a soul level. My chakras were opening. I saw some mirroring kind of going on. And what's really interesting is that we can have scientific data that really backs a lot of this up, right? And we have when you see somebody that you like, you have the pupil dilation, right? And it feels like my pupils were extremely dilated, and I was having extreme oxytocin release, right? Because that would explain why my head was in the clouds. I felt so good. I felt like the best I've ever felt in my life. And I felt like invincible. And I felt truly in my power. It is so interesting that to have the scientific data to kind of back that up. And from a scientific angle, right, prolonged eye contact can trigger the release of bonding hormones. Okay, so like I was saying, the oxytocin and heighten emotional resonance. Okay, so that's why we feel so good afterwards. That's why we feel on cloud nine. That's why we have these mix of emotions, right? Do I run? Do I stay? Why am I crying? Why am I happy? Why am I angry? Why is this person triggering all these different things in me and activating me on a different level? And it's really interesting, right? Because that actually wasn't the first time that I met my twin flame. Actually, I met him maybe like a year before that. And what's really interesting about that is that I did not see them in their eyes. Okay, as weird as that is, I saw some guys like looking at us from across the plaza. I told my employee at the time who I was training, let's go and talk to them so you can get to know everybody around here. So we go over to them. I never met them before in my life. And the sun was right behind them. And it was so bright that I couldn't even see their eyes. So, but I felt like weird. And it was like otherworldly, right? And I just wanted to come and share my story about the intense eye contact because I feel like right now there is a lot of misinformation about twin flames out there. If I can be completely honest, I'm old school and ancient in my way of thinking. I don't get mixed in the new school, new school, new age way of believing. And I want you to know that it's perfectly understandable to be lost on this journey at first. I know I was. There is a lot of misconceptions out there. There's a lot of misinformation, and there's people out there that may be well intentioned, don't know the correct information to give you when it comes to this journey. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to create more videos around my own experience of being twin flame, the research that I have gathered about being a twin flame. And if that's something that resonates with you, I would love for you to watch these videos. If not, you know me, I'm going to have other videos as well that will pertain to your specific spiritual path. And I want you to know that if you have had the intense eye contact with somebody, I'm going to tell you right now, I've never experienced that with anybody else in my life. And when you know, you know. And that, my friends, could be your twin flame. Don't let anybody else tell you that there is a checklist, that there is a way of, if this is your twin flame or not, or if this is a false twin flame, or if that's a soulmate, or that's a karmic partner. Throw all of that BS out the window, okay? Because illusion is going to get you hard, especially on this journey. It is not a journey that some powers that be and some entities that be want disharmony going on in this universe, okay? And we can look at life as being harmonious and disharmonious, right? And right now, your job as a twin flame is to get back into harmony with yourself. And that is all to say that you are right where you need to be in this time, in this space, in this journey, okay? Nothing is separate from one another. You have always been your twin flame. You are your twin flame. Let go of illusion. Let go of thought. Let go of ego and get back into who you truly are and who you are at your core as Christ consciousness, as your authentic self, as a powerful co-creator. Remember who you are and where you stand in this reality, in this dimension, and in this time and space. I hope this video was helpful. I can't wait to create more on this topic. It's truly one of my favorite topics, and I want to help more people who are on that specific journey because I'm very passionate about it. I will talk to you soon, my friends. Have a great and wonderful day.